And welcome back. Mr. Biden goes to Ottawa. The U.S. president will spend 2 days in Canada on a visit with First Lady Jill Biden later this month. He has not come to Canada since being sworn in as president in 2021. So what's at stake for this visit, and how should the federal government prepare? Let's bring in former Canadian ambassador to the U.S., David MacNaughton. He's right here. Hi, Ambassador. Good to see you. Welcome to Power Play. I'm wondering, it's the significance of a 2-day visit, and I'm told it's going to be 2 full days and not like a 6-hour visit like Barack Obama back in 2016. How meaningful is that?
Well, I think it really is meaningful. I mean, obviously, the Prime Minister and President Biden have a good relationship. I mean, we had dinner in Ottawa with when he was then Vice President Biden after the election in 2016. And obviously, there are some pretty significant issues on the table that are not just between Canada and the United States, but are geopolitical issues where I think we've got a very important role to play as, a trusted partner of the United States.
Yeah, that's clear, and I'm sure that he will reiterate his, the friendship that has always existed between the two countries. How significant is it that he will speak to Parliament?
Well, I think, I was pleasantly surprised that he's spending 2 full days here. I mean, I think that's significant of and by itself. Speaking to Parliament, I think is great, and I think, we've got to be really well prepared for the visit, not just in terms of the things that we want to get out of this, but understanding what it is that is going to, cement the partnership, the relationship we've had for the United States for a long time. I think more than ever, we need to be thinking about how we can work more closely together on, the big challenges, whether they be climate change or whether they be, growing the economy, or whether it be, the challenges with people like Russia and China and even, some of our continental challenges, people migration, drugs. I mean, there are a whole host of things that, we can work together on. And I think this is a really important time for us to not just address the things that are important to us, which, tend to be very trade related, but also those things that are important that we share, where we can really work together. And I think reinforcing that partnership is a really important part of this visit.
Mr. MacNaughton, give me one example. I mean, the president is not spending 2 days here and going back without a win. So what, in your opinion, and you've been at this for a while, is his biggest ask? Is it, in your opinion, if he's spending 2 days here, he has something in mind?
Well, I think there's been a lot of discussions, which, we began when I was in Washington about critical minerals and the importance they're going to play in the energy transition. And I think Canada's got a really important role to play in that in terms of, the whole supply chain that is really important because so much of that right now is processed or comes from China. And so, that's one of them. I think we've talked about NORAD modernization for some time. I think that's clearly important. Sovereignty in the Arctic, as I say, the influx of drugs like fentanyl that have cost Canadian lives and American lives. I mean, I think all of those things are important. Obviously, the Americans always start any conversation with us talking about defense and security. And we always start every conversation with them talking about trade. And I think, we've got to realize that we've got to be prepared to step up and become, I think, a stronger partner in defense and security. I'm not saying we haven't, done a lot, but I think we're going to have to do more. And I think that's one of the things that we have to be aware of. And, obviously the nature of war and the conflict with our enemies has changed dramatically over the last several years, and we've seen that in Russia and Ukraine, that the whole nature of warfare is changing, and I think we've got a role to play in really supporting the United States in the defense and security of our continent and of the world. I mean, I think it's really important. I think the other thing that we've got to understand, we've got to understand that in the United States right now, you're seeing a definite trend towards isolationism and protectionism. The Republicans, big chunks of the Republican Party have become totally isolationist. These strains have been in U.S. politics for a long, long time. They ebb and flow. Right now, it's difficult, and I think the more that we can, demonstrate that we are a reliable partner, it will go a long way to, to securing the kinds of things that we want out of this relationship.
Yeah. And it will be interesting to see what Canada puts on the table. Former Canadian ambassador to the U.S., David MacNaughton. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have. Thank you for sharing this time with us.
Good to see you, Joyce. Take care.